This is a very entrepreneurial sales role. How long can you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again? The number one reason why people quit recruitment agencies is hello, and welcome back to another video. My name is Preston. I'm a professional recruiter. Been doing that for about 9 years with my own agency, Kickstart Finder, at the tech industry. While recruiting is great, we can always talk about it on and on and on about how great a career and job opportunity it is. Of course, you might be wondering, what is the earning potential, the earning power if I were to be a recruiter on the corporate side, external agency, or even embark on my own? So I hear you loud and clear, but before we get started, please consider supporting a fellow recruiter. Give us a like, subscribe, click that bell. Really means a lot. Let's get started. As you can see here, let's talk about money. In this particular handful of slides that I created for you all, it's all about going to be focused on how recruiters get paid and what does the compensation growth look like. In these slides, I'm going to go over internal corporate versus external, also known as agency, also known as third party, and going to finish it off with those of you who are very entrepreneurial, looking to kind of do this by yourself, either as freelance, solo freelance, or maybe have your own agency one day. All of this information is based on my personal knowledge and experience doing this for almost about 8 to 9 years. If you agree, you disagree, that's totally fine. This is just based on my experience, want to just share it with you all. So please keep that under consideration, as it could be completely different with different markets and sectors and different types of recruiting. So let's start off with internal versus corporate recruiters. So before we get started, for those that are unfamiliar with internal corporate recruiters, they are the recruiters that work at a company and their only purpose is to find candidates or talent for that company. To make an example very simple, let's say that at Facebook, you are an internal recruiter at Facebook. Your sole job is to find and outreach and talk to candidates just for Facebook, just to be that clear. Compensation is usually in the form of base salary, can also include performance, discretionary bonus, annual bonus, and even equity stock options. I think equity stock options you see a lot more in the tech industry. Discretionary bonus, annual bonus, that's really up to the discretion of the company that you're working at. According to Google, as you can see here, the average salary in the US is about $46,000 to $106,000. This is not just technology focused, it's just a broad sample across multiple sectors. In tech, for my instance, for those that are pretty senior up there, I would say maybe with at least 4 to 6 or maybe 8 plus salaries, depending on where you work at, whether it's a small startup, whether it's big tech, can scale very quickly. I would say some of the top earning recruiters that I personally know make from probably 150 to 200, some a little bit higher than that, and that's just the base. They're also given stock options or equity depending on what stage the company's at, and some of them are also offered an annual performance bonus. Maybe that's something that's guaranteed, or maybe that's based on the performance of the company or discretionary. Now, interesting enough, while a lot of people think that tech is one of the highest paid industries, that is true, but other industries pay just as much or even more. So from my experience, even interviewing for a job way back when at investment banks and hedge funds and knowing people in that sector, finance pays a lot for internal talent acquisition professionals. I see salaries go from, I would say 200 on low end to 250, 300 plus, which is pretty mind-boggling because A, if you're new to recruiting, this might surprise you, and B, if you're in recruiting for a long time and you don't think recruiters get paid well, hey, we get paid pretty well. And again, it's dependent on the industry. Now, the packages that I personally seen range from, being very heavy around base salary. There's also a performance bonus, maybe an annual bonus, maybe both of them. But typically you'll see some sort of salary bonus, compensation. Now, how does your career and compensation progress as an internal recruiter? It's really through just consistent placements of open positions that you're given. Open positions you're responsible for can also vary. From the people that I know in my network, internal recruiters are responsible for maybe 5 to 10, all the way to 20, 40, 60, 80. And unfortunately, if you're on the latter end, you need to hire more colleagues to help you. There's no way one recruiter can adequately fill that large of a volume position. I think that is an unfortunate situation where that tech recruiter, if they don't scale that team, will just burn out or will be placed unrealistic expectations on his or her shoulders. And I think that's just not fair. I think TA, talent acquisition or recruiting, is as important a function as is with any other department in the company, whether it's finance, marketing, engineering, etc. Make sure it's staffed appropriately, make sure it's looked at and respected and judged comparably to other divisions, and that you set clear and reasonable expectations for your team. If not, hit up someone like me, a third-party agency. We'd love to help you out. If you're drowning under positions, my heart goes out to you, trying to be empathetic here. Now, again, the typical career progression is the salary will increase like any other job you're familiar with. Your salary will increase incrementally over time, and maybe perhaps you're giving more bonus, maybe even stock options or equity, depending on the company that you're working at and of course the industry as well. Now for this is as close to a regular job as you can think of. It's very stable, or it's much more stable out there with consistent salary, and your salary increases with good performance and adjustments upon typical performance cycles, which is usually for most companies 1 year, although some do maybe twice a year. Now let's talk about what it's like if you're working at an external or agency or third-party recruitment company or agency. Compensation, in my opinion, is usually in the form of a salary. It could be a draw, it could offer bonus, it could offer a commission, it could be a salary draw plus bonus or commission or both, or even fully commission-based or fully salary-based. Basically, it could be anything. I've seen so many different computations and variations of compensation out there, which is mind-boggling. It's impossible to keep track. If you are unfamiliar what a draw is, this is just based on Indeed. The draw amount is the total that the employer expects the salesperson to make through commissions during the pay period. Once the salesperson's actual commission comes in, the employer then deducts the commission from the original draw amount. Then the employer receives any commission money left after the deduction. With commission draws, employees receive a guaranteed amount per paycheck. It's up to them to reach or exceed that amount each sales cycle. What the heck does that mean? So let's say that you got a job and you're given a draw of $50,000. You have to place overall at least $50,000 for you to then be able to enjoy additional commissions or bonuses on top. If the whole year goes by and you placed about $40,000, you did not hit that draw, you will only get paid maybe $40,000. You might even still owe the company $40,000. There are stories up there where if you're not hitting or even break even with that draw amount, you can be in draw debt, which I think is really horrific and just extra stress inducing. If you have experience with that, let me know. But basically, once you hit that, whatever you make on top of it, you can get a percentage or a flat fee, however the company structures it, into your pocket. Average salary in the US for agencies and third parties is $35,000 to $74,000. As you can see, it is significantly lower than corporate internal recruiters, because with most jobs, and I would be hoping those that pay fairly, in the agency world, most jobs are offering a salary, but they're also offering a commission or a bonus on the back end as well. So typically in the agency world, most entry-level jobs start much lower with salary, but as you perform really well and consistently, you can make up and you can grow your compensation very, very quickly, even perhaps exceeding or surpassing the folks and the internal corporate world. Now, compensation is typically, what I've seen is usually capped. You can get a certain percentage up to a certain number. So let's say it's up to 100,000, up to 200,000, anything more just goes to the company, doesn't count to you, which is unfortunate because if you're working really hard and you're doing really well, I think that you should be able to fairly get some of those profits into your pocket. The second thing is uncapped. So let's say you make 100,000, let's say you do 200,000, 500,000, you will get a flat fee or percentage based on that. I think that's a lot more fair. You eat what you kill, whatever you produce. If it's great, you deserve to enjoy the fruit of your labor. Now, career compensation progression. So again, similar to internal, it's through consistent placements of open positions. It can be, FYI, very metric and data-driven heavy. There could be a lot of micromanagement. I talk about this from my experience working at a nationwide recruitment strategy. It's all about numbers, numbers, numbers. How many cold calls are you doing? How many emails are you doing? How many candidates are reaching out to? How many candidates are actually you're submitting each week? And it's very, 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 very specific, fine-tooth to that number. And if you waver, you're inconsistent for multiple different periods, you can be placed on a performance improvement plan, also known as a PIP. And if you do that badly, you can just ultimately get sacked or fired. It's not for everybody. It's very common that you see in sales roles that are very just metric heavy, KPI heavy, and managers tend to be very micromanaging and hands-on. But at the same time, if you are a high achiever, if you are a high performer, more importantly, the sky is the limit in terms of how you can grow, right? So again, with this, how you can grow, you can typically get incremental increases as well as salary, but the most important thing is that flat fee or that percentage. Does that increase as you continue to grow throughout your career, or does that stay flat? Maybe the salary is increasing. That's really the key here when you're considering any job, and try to calculate based on hypothetical situations. If I were to do X, if I were to do Y, if I were to do Z, what's my take home at the end of the day? If it's ridiculously low, try to find other agencies. There are more out there that probably want to talk to you. Now, this is a very, what I call an entrepreneurial sales job. In the agency world, a lot of times you'll be responsible for a full desk. That means you are basically running your own startup within this recruitment company that you're working at. You are responsible for not only finding the candidates, but generating your own business. They will probably teach you how to cold call, how to cold email, and then how to basically create those relationships so that then you can go and find candidates. Some other agencies split those two functions in half. So maybe you're just joining on the biz dev side, maybe you're joining on the candidate side. But in my opinion, if you want to one day become an agency owner, be a freelance recruiter, the best way to do that is by joining a full desk recruitment firm and succeeding at that. Because if you can succeed at that, chances are that you have, I would say, 80% chance that you can do really well on your own, right? Without the other colleagues and extra admin support that you get from working at a bigger company. If you only do like the candidate side, if you only do the biz dev side, this also applies for internal corporate recruiters, and one day you want to work on your own, it's going to be a reckoning. It's going to be a harsh reality once you realize, wow, I'm responsible for everything, not just candidates, but also biz dev, but also running the entire business in very unpredictable market conditions, having to think about taxes and legal and finances and all that stuff. It could be very, very stressful. The number one reason why people quit recruitment agencies, but not just this recruitment business, but any business, it's not so much whether or not you actually know how to recruit, whether or not you know how to market or finance or whatever that business's objective is whether or not you can actually also have what it takes to just handle all the difficult psychological, mental situations that are thrown at you just from owning a business and being on your own. A lot of people, it's very difficult. For some, they're cut out for it. For others, they can make do, but you have to constantly improve your time management, emotion management, pain management, and just really create strong boundaries. This is a very entrepreneurial sales role where basically, if you can do this, I think you have most of the chances of succeeding. If you absolutely join an agency and you hate it, maybe owning your own agency isn't going to be for you, because it is going to be the same thing times 20x, much, much, much harder. Salary, again, can help a little bit with the agency, but that's not where you're going to get your compensation. You can basically be able to make unlimited amount. I know people who work at agencies who are high performers, who are making 150, 200, 300, 400 plus, and life is great. You don't have to work on your own. You don't have to have your own business. Whatever company you're working at handles all that. You just focus on producing and placements, and that could be the perfect situation for a lot of you. Let's move on to freelance owners, those of you who are entrepreneurial, like, you know what, I want to own my own business one day. So let's talk about a couple scenarios, okay? Let's say that you're a freelance recruiter and your goal is to make 5 figures per year, which in parts of the country, different parts of the world, can be a really great full-time income, but also it could also just be a really great part-time income. Now, I will make a couple assumptions here, okay? So based on the next few slides, the assumptions are based on those of you running a full-time desk, running and placing full-time talent in an OG contingency model. So that's where we get paid off the salary with a certain percentage. Let's say each placement in this example is $15,000 to $25,000. The generating 5 figures, I think, in my opinion, can be completely done by luck. You don't need any experience. You can just be lucky. And if we assume that each placement is from 15 to 25, you really just have to do one placement in 1 year for you to call yourself, I'm a 5-figure recruiter, right? Let's talk about team. This can be done and should be done by yourself. If you need to hire for a VA, a part-timer, an employee to help you make 5 figures per year, chances are you don't really know the fundamentals well enough yourself. You are adding extra burn, expenses, and stress onto you by now having to pay somebody else to see if they can just somehow dig you out of a hole when you can do it yourself. So my experience is don't do that. focus on trying to do it yourself. There's no need to, in my opinion, to hire anyone else other than yourself to make this level of revenue. Systems and tools, this can be done again completely by luck. Without any systems, tools, experiences, maybe you can luck out with a couple very basic systems and tools. From experience, okay, prior agency recruiting experience would obviously be helpful, but you can also just be extremely lucky, starting with no experience and just figuring it out, muscling yourself, just powering through. Of course, prior business or sales experience is a plus. So in terms of performance, you can luck out again on 1 to 2 placements, no other placements for the rest of the year, minimal or lack thereof of any systems and tools, don't need a team, and don't really need any experience, right? You can just try to figure it out, but you'll most likely, put a lot of time and effort and money just through that process, but you can still do it. It's possible. Now, what if you want to make 6 figures per year? We're making the same assumptions here. So in my experience as well, 6 figures, $100,000, generating 6 figures can also be done completely by luck. Because again, going by the assumption that each placement is $15,000 to $25,000, you really only need to do like 4 to 6 placements in 1 year to then pat yourself on the back and call yourself a 6-figure recruiter without even knowing really what you're doing and just hanging on by a thread. In terms of team, this can be done. And again, I think should be done all by yourself. This is totally possible doing it on your own, as you only need 4 to 6 placements in a 12-month period to make it happen. If you need, again, to hire anybody, even to make $100,000 in recruiting, even depending on different industries that you're in, I think it's probably not the best use of resources, and you need to learn how to fundamentally optimize your education and your experience on the full desk so that you can do it yourself before you can teach others. How can you teach others to do it for you if you don't even know how to do it yourself? Right? Systems and tools, again, can be done without any systems, or you can still get by with something very basic. It's not that different from 5 figures. Here, you're just lucking out with 2 to 3 more other placements. You could be just, throwing cans at the wall, lucking out, finding new clients, doing the same thing, and just somehow passing the $100,000 mark. I know it can be done. I see people do it. Is it the right way running a full business? Probably not, but it's possible. Of course, prior agency recruiting experience will help you fast track your kind of success here. You can also be very lucky and you can kind of power through again, and prior business and sales experience is a plus. Now, the performance here, to make $100,000, you need to have at least a solid handful, maybe even 2 or 3 of really good clients. Or, you have 1 or 2 clients hiring for 3 to 5 jobs each, and you kind of luck out on a handful of them, right? To do $100,000, my hope is that by this time, you're kind of getting comfortable a little bit with the full desk. You can somehow, you've managed to find a couple clients, so you're kind of doing something that works there. You're able to do 4 to 6 deals. So that's showing me that you're getting the handle of using maybe perhaps the right tools to find candidates, reaching out to them, screening them, and sending them. You're kind of, making it happen on a smaller scale. Again, can be completely by luck. Again, you can just be lucky, as you only need to do 4 to 6 different placements. The key is, right, can you do it consistently year after year, or are you just lucky or a flash in the pan? It's very easy to do 5 figures in a year. It's very easy to do 6 figures in a year, but can you do it again? Are you taking unnecessary shortcuts? Are you burning relationships? Are you, not fostering relationships or candidates and clients the right way? That is the true definition, in my opinion, of a business owner. It's not so much how much you make, it's how long can you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again? Because chances are, if you can do that, then some of your systems and consistencies and track record is pretty solid. Let's talk about folks next level, okay, that are making multiple 6 figures and 7 figures. Same assumptions. Generating this type of revenue can be done kind of by luck. And if you don't believe me, it's true. There are some industries where, let's say, 1 placement is $100,000. Maybe you're doing focus on executive. Maybe 1 placement is $50,000 instead of 15 or 25. Then you'll need, again, 1 to 3, 3 to 5 placements for you to then break multiple 6 figures. But if it's not that, more likely I would hope that at this level, it's through consistent placements that can only be created from executing via really successful systems, tools, and of course, prior experience. This can again be done by yourself. I know people who are just freelance recruiters who are crushing it, but they're in different industries as I am. In each placement for them is $50,000 or more, $75,000, and they're making well over $1 million, 1.5 in revenue per year. To me, that's absolutely mind-boggling. When I hit 500,000, I thought that I was on top of the world, and then when I realized that people out there without teams are making 2x, 3x what I'm making alone, it's just jaw-dropping. So again, I'm just showing you one type of recruiting. There's so many types of recruiting out there with so many different types of business models. And I think making 1 million in revenue by yourself is way more impressive than having a team of 10 and making $1 million in revenue, because then you have to pay a bunch of expenses, you have overhead, your net is much, much smaller. And so if this one person wants to scale, he or she knows how to already make 7 figures by themselves. If they just duplicate themselves once, twice, 3 times, they can have a multi-million-dollar business. I think that's more impressive and admirable than having, again, a 5-6 person team making $1 million, right? But if it's not by yourself, then at this time, if you are a freelance recruiter, you can maybe have a team, have a full-time person or 2, have some part-timers, have some full-time freelancers, have some VAs, whatever, to help you with optimizing, outsourcing, management, and just making everything more efficient. For your systems and tools, you should have a moderate to robust foundation now of really good tech stack of systems to really optimize your workflow, help you work smarter and more efficiently. Same experience matters here as well. You could luck out. Chances are you're not making a sustainable business, but prior agency experience, which is what I had, prior business experience, prior entrepreneurial sales experience comes in really key here as well. Now, I also included having no experience or having minimal experience will make this difficult, because as much as you can guesswork, you can maybe luck out having an amazing year. A chance of you lucking out for 2, 3, 4, 5 years is very, very unlikely. In this level of revenue, you do not want to have any time to figure it out or guess. You now know your tools, what to do on clients and candidates. It's now about working smarter, maybe scaling, freeing up your time to focus on like the high ticket or the high touch areas, and then just putting your heads down and putting in that work. At this point, you should have a solid understanding of everything. And the goal is to execute yourself and to manage, source, and execute with your team. The performance can consistently get new clients, can consistently get new candidates throughout the year with your tools, your stack, with your team. And you have also a solid book of business that's coming back to you throughout the year. Needing help with one position, 5 or 10, you're able to close majority of that. So at this point, you are really, really comfortable with the full desk. Really, really comfortable with all of that, plus running a business. You have a rock solid brain, you have thick skin, you've been through a couple cycles in the markets, you know exactly what to expect, and you're just on fire. So I hope this helps, and I hope that you're able to take some stuff from this video. It was really fun to make it. My honest, wishes for all of you is whatever path you are on in recruiting, whether you are at a job, whether you are a director, whether you are at the agency, whether you're starting your own, I think recruiting is an amazing career option, and it still is and will continue to be so for so many people around the world. It honestly changed my life. I know it could change yours as well. And please share any of your experience. If you're in different industries aside from tech, share with me. What are recruiters making in your industry? How much can you make? What are the deal sizes? I would love to know. Comment down below. And always, if you enjoy this video, want to see more like it, feel free to like, subscribe, click that bell. Really means a lot. And please feel free to also follow me at Preston_Parker, as I try my best to also post behind the scenes content daily. Thank you so much again. We'll see you on the next one.